Okay, welcome back to another episode of Third and 23. I'm your host, Alex, here to talk week three of the NFL season. Last week, I had a rough one. Can't lie. Went 1-4. I guess you could say it's kind of in line with what, the rest of the country was doing, right? Everybody had a rough one last week. And I was just getting, some of them were just pure whiffs. The Niners covering against the Vikings. And some of them, laid at 6.5, Texans, against the Bears. Bears kicked this meaningless field goal at the end of the game to lose by 6. I lose by the half point. So stuff like that happens, man. What can you do other than try to get it back the next week, right? So here we are, week 3. Got 4 games on tap this week. First, going to start out with the Eagles at the Saints. Saints are favored by 3. Now the Saints have been riding high. If you've been watching the news, or if you're a big sports fan, football fan, you know that the Saints have scored on every drive this season. First against the lowly Panthers, worst team in the league, completely blasted them. Last week against the Cowboys in Dallas, they were all over the Cowboys. Um, their offense was cooking, but if you were watching the game closely, their defense actually was playing really well as well, and that defense was playing without Marshawn Lattimore, who is going to be back this week. You look at the Eagles. The Eagles had a just Monday night disaster of a loss. They were basically about to run out the clock against the Falcons on a third down play. They ended up throwing a pass to Saquon Barkley, which you can't really argue the call, because if Saquon catches it, he gets the first down. He actually might have scored, but he gets the first down, and the Eagles are running out the clock. But he dropped it, which stopped the clock, gave Kirk Cousins and the Falcons offense an opportunity. They took advantage, scored, ball game. Eagles lost, a heartbreaker at home. This week, AJ, as far as the injury front goes, AJ Brown is still out. So he missed last week's game. He's going to miss this week's game. For the Saints, Marshawn Lattimore is going to be back. So that's huge. Marshawn Lattimore is back, one of the top corners in the league, and AJ Brown, one of the top receivers, not playing. So now you're putting Marshawn Lattimore and you're putting him on Devontae Smith. I don't like that matchup for the Eagles. I don't like that matchup for the Eagles, and I don't like it for Jalen Hurts in the Eagles passing game to really have a good game, a good day on this Sunday. Now Saquon has been balling, so he's giving them the balance that they need. And by no means do I think the Eagles are going to get ran out of the arena, out of the stadium. But with a struggling passing game, and then trying to keep pace with a Saints offense that's been cooking, and they're going against an Eagles defense that is not a brick wall. I find it hard to believe. I'm gonna ride this Saints hot streak, and I'm going with the Saints laying the 3. I still think there's a lot of gas in that tank, and Philly coming off of that heartbreaker. I don't think they're going to be completely over it. Uh, and with no AJ Brown, it's going to be even a tougher matchup for them. Moving on, we're going to go to Panthers at the Raiders. The Panthers, as I've already said, and I say almost every week, they're the worst team in the NFL. They've benched Bryce Young. They're going to Andy Dalton, and to me, this has there's a chance that the Panthers are going to completely give up on the season. I think there's a chance here that these guys completely give up on the season. It seems like they're giving up on Bryce Young, and Andy Dalton is a vet quarterback, but he is who he is in the league. There's not really. I don't think he's going to give that much of a shot in the arm. There's no running game. There really aren't any receivers. I mean, Adam Thielen, he's a respectable receiver back in the day, but come on, he's at the end of his career, and the defense isn't really there. Now the defense, which has already lost Derek Brown, Shy Tuttle is also going to be out up front. There's not going to be much resistance on the ground. Now against the Raiders and Zamir White, they're not really a strong running game, but against that weakened Panthers front, I think you're going to see Zamir White have one of his better games, probably going to be one of his better games of the season. They're not going to stop the Minshew to Devontae Adams that's been going on. I like, and Antonio Pierce has just instilled a toughness into this Raiders team that I don't think that Carolina team has. And they're going to be at home. Panthers traveling across the country. I don't like this matchup for Carolina. I think the Raiders are definitely going to be able to cover the 6 and win that game more closer to like 14-20. Moving on, Texans at the Vikings. Texans are a 1.5 point favorite. Used to be 2. It's gone down to 1.5. So I guess people believe in Minnesota. So as far as the Vikings go, this is one of my whiffs last week, right? I had the Niners going in there, 5 point favorite and covering, and they ended up losing the game. I don't care. I'm not a believer in Minnesota. This is the worst team in the NFC North, in my opinion, and that's how it's going to end up at the end of the season. And I don't believe in this early season hype that they're getting off that big win against San Francisco. Sam Darnold's not that guy. Jettis got hurt last game. Justin Jefferson got hurt last game. He says he's going to play. We don't know. Addis, who I love, Justin Jefferson, best receiver in the league. Addison, I love at receiver, but he's already out for this game. The Vikings defense isn't any good, especially stopping the pass. CJ Stroud and company didn't get touchdowns last week. They kept settling for field goals. I think that changes this week. They're not going to be able to stop Stroud to Diggs and Nico and Tank. So I see that as a big mismatch in favor of Houston. Again, I don't care. I'm riding it again. Give me the Texans. The Vikings are not that good. I'm not going to believe they're that good. Moving on, the final game I'm going to do is Lions at the Cardinals. This was an interesting spread to me. Lions only favored by 3. Lions are a Super Bowl contender. Cardinals are going to probably draft in the top 10. Now, this could be getting some buzz, I guess, because Marvin Harrison Jr., they couldn't get it to him week 1. Week 2, he goes off 4 for 132 touchdowns in the first quarter last week against the Rams. But here's the thing, Marvin Harrison Jr.'s final box score, 4 for 130, 2 touchdowns. They couldn't get the ball to him after those 2 big plays he had. I love Marvin Harrison Jr. I thought he was the best receiver in the draft. I thought he was the best player in the draft overall. I'm not so sure about Kyler Murray and about their chemistry, about him getting him the ball. So they're going to have games like he had in the first quarter last week, and then they're going to have games like he had in week 1. If they can't get it to Marvin Harrison Jr., they really don't have anything. I mean, James Conner is good, but he's not going to be able to run the ball against Detroit, who's tough up front. You can get them in the back end, but I don't think the Cardinals are the team that will be able to get them on the back end. And then defensively, I've said it before, the Cardinals have a patchwork defense. You're going against one of the best offenses in the league, Jared Goff and St. Brown and JMO, Gibbs, David Montgomery. So many weapons on Detroit. You're Detroit's only getting 3. This to me is buying into this early of what happened last week against a Rams team that had so many backups in. I'm not buying that at all. You're not going against backups this week. Give me Detroit. I'm laying a 3. So there we have it. 4 games. I said it on my college video, and I'll say it here. I'm going on vacation actually tomorrow, so I won't have a video for the next 2 college Saturdays and 1 NFL Sunday. So next Sunday I won't have a video for the NFL, and I won't have one for the next 2 college football Saturdays either. It's unfortunate, but we got to go on vacation sometimes. So that pretty much wraps it up. If you like the content, please like, follow, subscribe, all of that, as you're going to see my YouTube handle here in a few seconds. Take care.